I don't want to come off as a flat earthist, even though I once was.
No, there's no way!
Maybe this happened to clear some of the population up.
People talked about Nickelodeon for years.
I think this was a genuine virus.
It was like in a lab in China.
Ooh, I'm gonna get canceled.
Welcome back to the Be Free channel, everybody. My name is Brian Terada, and today we are asking the question, do all conspiracy theorists think the same?
I do believe that P. Diddy did kill Tupac, and I also believe in aliens.
I believe COVID was around many years before the pandemic, and Jeffrey Epstein is still alive.
I believe aliens are real, and I believe the CIA killed JFK.
I believe Drake killed XXXTentacion. I believe that clones do exist, specifically Eminem. And I also believe that the moon landing was fake.
I believe that the government purposely poisons our food so we stay sick. And I believe the bridge that just collapsed in Baltimore was on purpose.
I believe that the Maui fires were a hoax and that Malaysia Flight 370 is still out there somewhere.
The government has our best interest at heart.
That was easy.
Damn. No one thinks they care about us at all?
No, they're poisoning our food. I work in healthcare. It brings in a lot of money, so why would they ever cure it? You know, same thing with cancer.
Because the United States is a capitalistic country, we thrive on profits. So, I mean, why would we want to help them when we can reap the benefits and get a lot of money?
How come every country in Europe has all these ingredients banned, but we still put them in our food?
It's hard to believe an institution that messes up on things and purposefully hides things, even if it's small little things about finances and taxing specific people and inside trading, things like that, where it's do they really care about the benefit of us? I don't think they how can they?
Yeah, how does Nancy Pelosi have hundreds of millions of dollars? How'd she do it?
And no one's questioning it. They're just oh, she's making so much money and it's not insider trading, and her husband also is trading on this, but whatever.
He's just really good.
Yeah.
He's really good at reading
She's on the
market.
computer every day, buying stocks and shit.
I give up on the government at this point because I really don't think they have our best interest. Because if they did, the world would not be what it is today. And with all the shit that's going on, I've been to Spain, and the amount of people that look so good out there versus the United States, why does it have to cost so much to be healthy?
I thought you were talking about that they're just sexier.
They are too, yeah, they are. Yeah, it's European men.
Yeah.
FBI is always watching too, so.
Let me just throw that in there. Do you guys remember a time when you did trust the government?
I think as children you have to
Yes,
trust
children,
the government.
because we're blindly.
You're brainwashed every day to say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag. That's brainwashing every day. That's weird. But we never questioned it because that was just our norm. And then when I moved to England, they were like, you did that every day in school? That's weird.
That is weird. Every single morning. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
We're a cult.
Indoctrinated to pledge our allegiance.
Yeah.
Literally.
Wow.
Not even knowing what's really going on. Do you guys remember when you started to stop trusting the government?
COVID. 2020. Everything was shut down. I was scared for so long. I started traveling in 2020. I went to Mexico, started doing things, and never got sick. I got vaccinated, and then right after I got vaccinated, I got sick. Obviously, I'm not a COVID denier, but I just think that some of the restrictions that were imposed were a little extreme. That's when I started questioning things.
In my freshman year in college, when I was taking history classes in depths with the government and certain things, and I was oh my God, my life's a lie.
My distrust, I would say, kind of kicked in my high school phase. I had a lot of family members that suffered from cancer, and just seeing how they were treated in the hospital, they were treated politely. It's just, people have been fighting this disease for so long, and you're telling me there still is nothing when people have to pay millions just to stay alive? It clearly seems like something's not 100% truthful in the situation. There's one doctor that's in Africa who says he has found the cure for blindness, cancer, AIDS. He's gone to a bunch of people in the States to try and get this, but a lot of people don't want to hear him.
There's a plane with all these doctors that were apparently experts on HIV,
Yes.
and the plane just crashed and they all died. That was weird.
I feel like we have a cure for AIDS. Specifically when I look at Magic Johnson, it's didn't he get diagnosed with AIDS in the 70s, 80s, but he's thriving right now, living the best life you can imagine? That doesn't really make too much sense to me, how certain iconic figures can survive AIDS, but everybody else doesn't.
Did you just say who? Magic Johnson?
We can't pass over that.
You just said that, I thought of Magic Mike, but that's not connected, right?
No.
I agree with the majority of conspiracy theories.
There's some conspiracy theories that like have a basis scientifically to be proven otherwise, or just like have a larger majority of facts based in truth and like sequence of events than like just deducing like because you have a lack of one thing, then you're inputting your group decision about Oprah Winfrey is like trafficking like children's organs because she's like a bad person. It creates too much chaos when you're just like blindly following because a thing.
You're supposed to be a free thinker, but then some people are free thinkers, but then they become slave to the free thinking. You don't believe Oprah's a bad person. What else?
I think she's a horrible person, but I think that her being a bad person does not, you can't interject these things where she might be involved with other people. You don't think she's a bad person?
Okay, I mean, I did see that she did lie about her whole Weight Watchers campaign.
Really?
And yeah, that she
There you go.
she was using weight loss medication versus the actual program.
Yeah, she is.
She's like Ellen DeGeneres, like they're both like sleazy.
I mean, that's true, but that goes for everybody, like every person in the public eye.
That's what we do here. I'm a jerk.
Oprah doesn't give me bad vibes. I just think she's a closeted lesbian. Sorry.
Still a conspiracy though.
One of the things that I don't believe is the flat earth. Like, there's no way that the earth is flat.
What is even the evidence to support that? Like, I'm confused.
Benjamin knows.
Yeah, I don't want to come off as a flat earthist, even though I once was. But it's a totally different map. So a world that's spherical has the Asia over here and America over here, but when you make it flat, it kind of goes to the center. So the North Pole stays at the top, expanding the South Pole to go around the edges. That's why as civilians, we're unallowed to go to the South Pole. You have to have some type of scientific reason or do some type of research. We're not allowed to go to the South Pole unless it's a very specific section that's been government approved. And the theory is because it's gigantic ice walls that keep us within the dome. If you were to say walk on the ice and go to the edge of the dome, then it would just be a clear dome, there would be no escape. It's not really researched because civilians can't go and it's a government hidden thing.
I lost you like in the very beginning.
I saw. Fun fact, the IRS logo lines up with the flat earth identically. Or maybe it's not the IRS, maybe it's who.
I don't believe that Avril Lavigne is not Avril Lavigne because people say that she is not Avril Lavigne. Like, I don't believe that Britney Spears is not Britney Spears. Like, that kind of stuff where they're like, oh, it's a clone and like
What
that.
about Kanye West, though?
No.
You know how he went into like the
I don't believe any of that
mental
stuff.
hospital or whatever, and then he came back. But there's this new guy.
That's not actually Kanye.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
No,
but
that's
it
where I
doesn't
draw the
look-
line. Not even, no.
But it doesn't look like him, though.
Yeah, it
I'm
does.
like, no, it doesn't.
He just gained a little weight. It looks just like him.
You're saying that
And-
Kanye now
okay,
doesn't
but
look
every
like
other
Kanye?
time that he's gone to the mental hospital and came out, he looks the same. But this one time that he comes out, he
He had
looks
a couple
different.
cheeseburgers in there. It's fine.
No, there's no way.
Because he broke up with Kim.
Look at this picture.
That looks like him.
No.
Look at this. That does not look like
I need to see
Kanye.
it.
It does.
It's just
No, I mean it does because it's his clone.
Who are they saying that Britney Spears actually was?
Actually, my friend, who's a Britney Spears impersonator, there's like this whole conspiracy theory
That
on
it's your
TikTok
friend?
that it's my friend and they pay her. And I'm like, it's not obviously, but like I know for a fact, obviously, it's my best friend.
Does she ever like disappear with no good reason?
No.
I am conservative.
Oh, wait, what were we supposed to be? Agree or disagree?
Agree or disagree? Usually you would think that conspiracy theorists are like right-wing nuts, right? That's how it's always been. But now it's just you.
Ooh, I'm gonna get canceled.
No,
You know, like how women are so oppressed and this and that. I think that's like a load of crap in the US. As a woman, I love being a woman. If anything, I use that as like for my own gain now. I'm like, oh, so as a woman, you're not gonna pay me this and that. Like that's a whole load of crap. Like I've just found that like as long as I do my work, I do a good job, I'm always getting the promotions, I'm always getting higher pay like than my other peers, than people that have been there for years.
If women get paid less, don't you think most companies would mostly hire women? Because don't you think they want a higher profit margin? So it's like, well, if they do get paid less, well then why aren't they hiring the cheaper labor?
Yes.
Personally, I think both sides are awful. We have two parties here and that keeps us divided. By keeping us divided and fighting, then we're not focusing on the main goal, right? I would identify more as like an independent liberal. I don't think it has to do with political parties or conservative or liberal. I think it just has to do with being a thinker and questioning things.
I don't really go based on party, I go based on your values.
I don't believe everything is black and white. People say like, oh, you're conservative, and I'm like, I agree more on the conservative. That's why I consider myself conservative, but do I agree with everything? No.
I believe a quote from a satirical show, which is a quote I shouldn't believe in, but why, or who should I vote for, the left or the right? The left side's gonna fuck me in the ass and the right side's gonna fuck me in the ass. Why would I vote for either? I was raised to be conservative, I'm from the South, so technically speaking, I should love what Trump does, but the divide that he causes society and civilians and the hatred that gets invoked, it makes me never want to vote for somebody that,
you know, like
No.
to keep us like fighting.
It's all an effort to like have everyone be very docile and have everyone be very stupid and you know, rely on the system, so that like at the very end of the day, like we're gonna be left with nothing. That's what all of these minute little things are doing. It's just those microaggressions to like build that tension so that we erupt and then everyone.
United we stand, divided we fall.
At the end of the day, it's like it's coming down to have like common sense. Like people are gonna believe in what they're gonna believe, and that's totally fine. And like I'm not gonna judge you for that.
My conspiracy beliefs affect my relationships with my family and friends.
I believe FBI is always watching, the government's like corrupt, but then some family are so supportive of the Republican Party, and it irks my soul so much because I'm like, how can you support these things that are happening in this world? Like I said, I try to stay out of it because it always ends in like a big argument and fight.
10 years ago, I would get in like major fights with people.
Over conspiracy theories?
Well, I wasn't the conspiracy theorist back then. I'd be like, you're crazy, you're crazy. Like,
So they won those fights.
if you approach something with, this is right, and I believe this, and you need to believe this, and what I say is 100% true, you're always gonna have issues with people.
Well, that's good that for you, but unfortunately we can't control everybody else's reactions. I thought I had friends that had my back, and as soon as they found one thing, I was asked, you know, like, oh, who, like, you know, like a joke, like, oh, who you're voting for or whatever. And I was just like, oh, I don't really know. And I just mentioned, I said, but I'm leaning more like towards like Trump. And then there automatically, it was like tweet the next day, oh, Diane's a Trump supporter. And I was like, I never said that, you know? It's like,
But
and
that's
it was,
what has to change. Like, and
Yes,
I
that's
feel
what I'm
bad for
saying.
people that are like immediately canceled for believing a certain thing. It's like,
Yeah.
one belief doesn't make you an awful person. If you voting for Trump, doesn't make you an awful person.
Yeah.
You being racist or homophobic, yeah, I'd be like, you're probably a shitty person.
Yeah.
But like,
My dad, like, I love him so much, but he gets on Facebook. I think everyone knows how Facebook videos are like marketed in these like very short and quick ways, saying like the government is poisoning us and stuff like that. And like my dad will get so mad, and I see that and I'm like, I think this should be fun. Like conspiracy theories is something that you should sit with your friends and you're like let's play PI and like try to find out like what is the truth. But like once you get like enmeshed in it and it becomes you, then it's like, I always tell my dad, I'm like, if it bothers you so much, then go talk to the president right now and like tell him that like you want him to stop sending money to Ukraine and like all this stuff.
what if it does mean something? Because
Conspiracy theories?
like people talked about Nickelodeon for years, and then look at it's all coming out.
Well, I don't know
People
if
were
that's so much conspiracy as so much as like accusations. I think it stemmed from accusations.
it started as a conspiracy.
There you go.
No, because like Amanda Bynes was like tweeting about it. It was comments that that were made from people on the set about certain people's behavior.
But for years, especially with sexual abuse, especially as someone who has been sexually abused as a kid, they're told they're crazy. Like, oh, Amanda Bynes just has bipolar, Britney Spears just has bipolar, whatever. All these people go crazy. Is that, like, that's the conspiracy of it, is that you're gaslighting people of the abuse that they experience. So I don't think conspiracy theories have to just be lighthearted.
No, I think of conspiracy theories more as like things like big topics, like the Mandela effect. Like, I think that is like a current thing, like that's something that's ongoing, that is still in development. This conspiracy theories are based off of things that have already had a closed case rather than like an investigation type thing, like accusations of sexual assault.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, like stop getting so upset about it and like posting on Facebook, that's not gonna do anything. But I think like having the discussions are good because like you're raising awareness to things that need to maybe be healed.
I feel like a lot of people don't have emotional discipline and they take things like very, very personal, and so that's why they attack. I like to give facts, like when I give my conspiracy theories, because I have like a very like science brain. So then when I explain stuff, I always like break it down to like a science or math and be like, this is what it is. And then it kind of like gets them to understand more rather than I don't sound like some crazy conspiracy theory, like grabbing stuff out the air.
Conspiracy theories can affect your relationship with friends and family for the better. My best friend in high school, we bonded so much just shooting the shit and talking any and all type of conspiracy theories. It inspired us to really just dive into a certain artist who was solely doing conspiracy albums at the time, and his dad was getting involved, and it became like a thing for us all to get together and just talk crap, and it was fun.
I just wish that the world was more open-minded and more people can be open-minded. And I totally agree with all your points. Like I'm a sensitive person, so sometimes I will get a little hurt. But I'm trying like to better myself as a person to be more open-minded about certain things. And like when you were saying about the whole Nickelodeon stuff, it does go back because like people will tell you how crazy you are, but then for it to all come to light now, it's like, oh shit, they were actually speaking truth then.
Well, that's what kind of happened with COVID. The differing beliefs about vaccines and people saying things and like being taken off of Twitter for saying things that later on were true. What do you guys think about COVID?
Do you want us to stand in the middle?
Sure, yeah, go back to the middle. COVID was planned by the government to gain more control.
I don't think it was a planned thing. I think this was a genuine virus, a variant of a flu, and we kind of overreacted personally.
It was around even before the pandemic. How come the Lysol products from back then said
Coronavirus.
yeah, like stops like the spread of coronavirus?
Isn't the theory that it was like in a lab in China and they were doing something scientifically and it went bad and it became this pandemic? Like, I don't think they probably purposely wanted it to become that, but it feels like maybe it was created in a lab somewhere. But it is weird timing with the election and them wanting to get Trump out.
So ironically, I'm a public health major, but yet I agreed that it was planned. I don't believe that COVID is like not a virus. I believe it is a virus. It definitely did kill people. However, as far as the vaccine, I did really well in I graduated with honors. I did really well. My favorite was biology. And so basically, virus doesn't have a cure. You can only do prevention. So obviously that's vaccines. Like the purpose of a vaccine is to prevent you from getting the disease. So obviously if you're taking it and then continuing to get the disease, it did not work. Vaccines take years and years and years, 10 plus years to like perfect. I believe in vaccines. I believe in the ones in the past, measles, chickenpox, all that. However, these new vaccines that they came up with, Bill Gates and all the other companies, Johnson & Johnson, it was basically just a profit. But this is coming from a science
It was an
point of view.
mRNA vaccine that people said they were studying for 20 years before COVID. So like they were saying that it wasn't just made in a year, but they like modified it. If it had never been used on humans before, they tested it for 20 years and said it's safe. But in reality, was it just a science experiment for all of us? It was kind of like
it seems like it was almost just a population scare because everybody was going on about how we were overpopulated. So maybe this happened to clear some of the population up.
I believe that.
If that was really the case, like they could have killed a lot more people.
But think about all the money they made while those people died.
I mean, if you die instantly, we don't make any, well, not me, but the country doesn't make any money. But if you die slowly, then they're making money off of your medical bills.
A lot of people who went in the hospital during COVID, regardless of their death, the majority was labeled as death from COVID. It could have been death from something else that was not related. Like my grandfather went in and my parents believe that he did not die from COVID, but they labeled it as that.
Someone I know who's a nurse had someone come into the hospital during COVID for something completely unrelated, let's say a heart attack or something. And while they're in the hospital, they got COVID and they passed of the thing that they originally came from, but they marked it as COVID because they did have COVID when they passed, but the hospital gets money from marking it as a COVID death.
What do you think where they're saying the conspiracy theory is that COVID is used to get rid of the middle class? Because a lot of businesses, especially like mom and pop shops, like they went out of business, you know, and I feel like they're also trying to cause that divide. It's like, you know, it's the poor against the rich.
Yeah, 70% of restaurants in LA closed during COVID.
Yeah, and Amazon went up so much. It's like all the big corporations benefited from COVID.
All right, y'all, thank you so much for watching, and thank you to our conspiracy theorists for that amazing conversation, and we'll see you next time.
Right.